It's almost 1 a.m., you should be asleep. Instead, your brain just handed you a brilliant idea. Right now, a region behind your forehead is powering down. It's the part that judges every thought you have, and as it goes quiet, you turn more creative. Why does your mind switch on as it should switch off? You know this feeling, even if you've never named it. The world goes still, the notifications stop, and suddenly your thoughts start connecting in strange new ways. Ideas you chased all day finally show up, uninvited. Most people blame it on the quiet, the lack of distraction, but the quiet is only half the story. Something physical is changing inside your skull after dark. The same brain that felt foggy at 3 p.m. feels wide open at midnight. Here's the strange part. You're not getting smarter. In some ways, your brain is performing worse. You couldn't do your taxes right now if you tried. Complex focus is falling apart, but creativity is climbing. How can your brain get worse and more inventive at once? To understand that, you have to meet the part of you that runs the day. Behind your forehead sits the prefrontal cortex. Think of it as the brain's manager, its control center. It keeps you focused, on task, and socially appropriate. It plans, it filters, and most of all, it judges. Every time an odd thought appears, the manager checks it. Is this useful? Is this relevant? Is this stupid? All day, it quietly deletes ideas before you even notice them. This is brilliant for getting work done. It's terrible for getting strange, original ideas. Because the wildest thoughts get cut first, for being impractical. Now watch what happens to that manager as the day wears on. From the moment you wake, a chemical called adenosine builds up. It's the pressure that slowly makes you feel sleepy, and it doesn't just make you tired, it dampens the prefrontal cortex. Your sharp daytime manager gets slower, looser, more relaxed. By late night, the strictest part of your brain is exhausted. The guard at the gate has basically fallen asleep at his post, and that is the exact moment something interesting begins. With the filter down, thoughts blocked all day walk right in. Distant, unrelated ideas suddenly get to meet each other. And that collision of distant ideas has a name: creativity. Think of almost every great idea as two old thoughts colliding. The printing press was a wine press plus a coin stamp. By day, your filter keeps those thoughts in separate boxes. By night, the boxes open and the strangest pairings meet. Velcro was just plant burrs studied under a microscope. The idea was always there. A filter just had to drop. Scientists actually tested this with the clock. They gave people creative insight puzzles at different times of day, not focus tests. Puzzles that need a sudden, sideways leap. Then they compared everyone's best and worst hours. You'd expect people to perform best when they feel sharpest. The opposite happened. It almost makes no sense. People solved more insight puzzles at their worst time of day. The morning people got creative late. The night people, early. When their focus was weakest, their imagination was strongest. The same study ran cold logic puzzles too. Those got worse at the off-peak hours, exactly as you'd expect. So tiredness didn't make people smarter overall. It quietly traded one skill for another. Focus for imagination. Here is why that trade happens. When you're sharp, your brain stays on the obvious correct path. When you're tired, your attention scatters and wanders off it. And wandering off the obvious path is where original ideas live. You can see the same effect in a stranger experiment. Researchers gave people creative problems after a couple of drinks. At a mild buzz, people solved more of them, and faster. Not because alcohol is magic, it simply loosened the same filter. Late night tiredness is like a sober version of that loosening. Your inner critic clocks out without the hangover, but your brain doesn't just lower the filter at night, it also switches networks entirely. When you stop focusing, the default mode network wakes up. It's the daydreaming network, active when your mind drifts. It pulls up memories, blends them, and runs little what-if simulations. During a busy day, focus keeps this dreamy network quiet. At night, with focus gone, it finally gets to run free. Brain scientists even have a name for this nighttime shift. They call it transient hypofrontality, a temporary quieting of the front of the brain. It's the same dimming that happens in deep flow and in dreams. Less control over your thoughts, more freedom between them. You've felt a daytime version of this too, the idea that hits in the shower or on a long drive. Those are moments your focus drops and the mind drifts. Night is simply the longest, deepest version of that drift. But here's where it gets really interesting. The most creative window isn't deep night at all. It's the exact moment you start falling asleep. That blurry stage between awake and gone has a name. N1. For a minute or two, you drift, half dreaming, barely aware. And the inventor Thomas Edison was obsessed with this exact state. He'd nap in a chair holding steel balls in his hand. As he fell asleep, his fingers relaxed, and the balls crashed down. The noise jolted him awake, mid-idea, and he grabbed whatever he saw. For a century, that sounded like a strange superstition. Then, recently, scientists actually put it to the test. They gave people a math problem with a hidden shortcut, a secret pattern that made the whole thing instantly easy. Then they let people drift into that early sleep and woke them. The people who touched N1 found the hidden trick far more often, nearly 3 times as often as those kept fully awake. 1 minute on the edge of sleep, and the answer appeared. So your most original mind lives right at the doorway of sleep. And history is full of proof, if you look. Salvador Dali used the same trick, a key over a metal plate. The clatter woke him the instant he dropped off, ideas in hand. Mary Shelley dreamed the core of Frankenstein in a half-waking vision. Paul McCartney woke with the whole melody of Yesterday in his head. None of them forced it, they caught it at the edge of sleep. Their genius wasn't only talent, it was knowing when to listen. Which raises an obvious, uncomfortable question. If the night brain is so brilliant, why do its ideas look insane by morning? You felt this, a 2 a.m. idea that seemed like pure genius. You wake up, read your notes, and it's barely coherent. That gap between night genius and morning cringe is not a bug. It's the whole secret to how this actually works. Because here's the truth we've been circling the entire time. Your brain at night is not more powerful. It's less controlled. You didn't gain creativity, you lost your filter. And losing the filter is exactly what let the ideas through. The genius and the nonsense come from the very same place. A mind with the brakes off generates everything, good and absurd. By day, your manager would have killed the absurd ideas instantly, but it would have killed the brilliant, strange ones along with them. So your midnight self has one job and only one: to generate, to throw out wild, unfiltered, unjudged possibilities. It is gloriously good at making things, terrible at judging them. And that's the part almost nobody understands about creative people. Creativity was never a single act of pure inspiration. It's 2 different jobs, done by 2 different brains. There's the night brain that dreams ideas up with no limits, and the day brain, sharp and critical, that decides which are real. Edison knew this. He caught ideas at the edge of sleep, but he tested them, ruthlessly, in the cold light of day. The magic was never just the dreaming, it was the handoff. So the late-night flood of ideas isn't the finish line, it's only the raw material, the first half of the process, which changes what you should actually do with your nights. When the ideas pour in after midnight, don't trust them yet. But don't dismiss them either, just catch them. Keep a note by the bed and write the wild thoughts down. Don't judge them, don't fix them, don't try to be sensible. That's not your job at night. Judging is the morning's work. Let your tired, unfiltered mind do the one thing it's built for. Then hand the list to your sharp daytime self to sort out. Generate in the dark, edit in the light. That single rhythm is how real creative work gets made, and it reframes that inner critic you've been fighting. The critic isn't your enemy, it's just on the day shift. It was never there to crush you, it's there to refine you. You simply needed a window where it wasn't allowed to speak. Night is that window. That's the real gift of the dark. Not that you become a genius when you should be asleep, but that, for a few quiet hours, you stop censoring yourself. So the next time a strange idea finds you at 1 a.m., smile. Your guard is asleep, and the most honest part of you is talking. Just remember to write it down before you drift off, because the same state that creates the idea will erase it by morning. If you want to know why your best ideas come when you stop trying, the psychology of the wandering mind is your next video.